The reason I call this thing behind me the forgotten side hustle is because I've never seen anyone on the internet talking about this specific side hustle. Using these road stands that I've built, here's one, here's two, here's three, this is one design, there's another one, to sell things by the road. I'm using them currently to sell honey, but you could use them to sell anything really. You could use them to sell vegetables that you grow, you could use them to sell jam, you could use them to sell eggs, leeks, or flowers that are called dahlia flowers. They sell for a lot of money, and you can sell like spring potatoes, new potatoes, they're also expensive. And you can sell different kind of plants that you just, pumpkins, for example, like Hokkaido and butternut pumpkins and sweet potatoes. One thing that I'm experimenting with right now is actually selling plants. So different kinds of plants, for example, strawberry plants. You can sell all sorts of berries and cherries if you have those, and plums is also a great seller. And you can even sell like worms for fishing, if that is up to you. So you can just go out in the garden or go down to the beach, and then you can take these worms up that live in the sand and you can sell them. My granddad actually did this refrigerator outside, old refrigerator, and he would sell these worms, and he would make like maybe a couple $1,000s a year selling these, and it's like only in the summer season. I've seen somebody sell watermelons also, which is a great thing. This is another road stand, which is much easier to build. It's a tiny one. It took me like a weekend, and keep in mind, it was like painting it most of the time, where it has to dry and everything. I just used the materials that I had. Like I had these pieces of wood here, and those are the ones that are used all around. And then this wood here, which is used for both the sides, the bottom, and the top. And then a little piece of metal here on the top, so the rain can't come in. I have a quick, real tale from the real world of selling things by the road. Once upon a time, there was an old man, and he sold cherries in his road stand. But one day, a guy, actually his neighbor, started a road stand right down the street. And he sold the cherries for half the price. So the old man got very annoyed. He got irritated and he got mad at his neighbor for selling these cherries so cheaply, because now he had no customer base. He was wiped out completely. And he thought to himself, how can I get back this market? How can I dominate this market like I've done for years? And one day he found a solution. So he went over to the neighbor who sold the cheap cherries, and he bought every last one of them. Every one. He bought them all for 50% of the price he sold them at. Then he took all the cherries to his own stand, and he sold them for twice the price. This is a true story from my grandpa, who is now 90 years old this fall. You might be worried about like crime and don't people steal all these things that you're selling. And the thing is, what I've noticed is, yeah, people do steal, but it's like maybe once or twice a year. So it's like not really anything that you will be able to feel. And it is quite frightening when it happens, because if people continue to steal on a regular basis, it won't make sense to like sell at the road, right? You can see here we have a box here for cash, and this box is screwed in to the wood with these two bolts here, and this one is to prevent it from like wobbling, because people will actually be able to sometimes like take a crowbar in here and break it up, but this makes it a lot harder. And then we also have down here, this one was in a particularly like place where it was exposed to crime, so we decided to put this thing on here and then put it into like a hill behind it. So it was like absolutely certain that people wouldn't steal. This is great if you want to make sure that people don't steal the cash box, but people can still steal all of your products. And how do you prevent that? Well, I've experimented with building a fake camera that you put, so it's like there's, it looks like there's a camera with some wiring going out from the back. The thing you have to keep in mind is if this road stand is besides the road. There are like strict rules that you must not have a camera that points out and films people on the road. That is some kind of rule, definitely in my country. I'm selling honey at the moment, and you can see I use these laminated pieces of paper here. This says honey, and it's like weird for you guys because you're reading it the wrong way around. And I have this one here, which is a note on like how the honey is produced and everything. And you can make this also if you're like selling jam, or if you're selling eggs, or if you're selling ice cream or whatever you could sell in these road stands. Of course, you would have to have a cooler if you sold something that had to be held at a specific temperature. But here it just says like how this honey is produced without pesticides and everything, and it's just like really talking the product up so that I'm able to charge a premium. Because the reason I'm able to charge a premium is because this product here is branded not like just normal honey. It's really, really good, raw, unheated, untreated honey that is really rich on vitamins and enzymes that are healing for the body and the skin and everything. People love it, and that's the reason that I've created just more of these road stands. When I first made one of these road stands, I just went out into the shed and I looked for what wood do we have, and I found we had a lot of these, and they were actually not in great shape. They were kind of like, they'd been outside for a while, so I had to like sand them down. But now they're beautiful, right? Because they have got this, which is like some mushroom or like killer, which like is good for wood that is supposed to be outside. If you want to start selling through road stands, I recommend starting with the tiny, the smaller like stand, because it will take you a couple hours to build it and then like some hours to paint it as well. It has to be painted maybe 3 times. But these bigger ones take a while to make. You have this more moving parts to it, and I will be making a video about how to make one of these because I actually quite like the design. It's made in perfect standing height for most people, so you just like, you're around about standing height here, and it's yeah, there's a lot of room if you want to sell a lot of things. I've been painting these signs that I use. After 1 year of being outside, it like gets kind of, the paint goes off some places, so you have to repaint it. And over here I also have another one. And then down here is one which is like a bee. And the thing I like about this one is that it's, if there's like people from Germany or people from England or Netherlands or whatever, they can also understand that this is honey, because it's like a universal sign for bees, I guess. I would recommend actually not, instead of writing like jam or something, if you have a place where it's like, maybe you're in Sweden, Scandinavia or somewhere where there's a lot of tourists, you want to just make it a sign, like just draw a piece of whatever, an ice cream or a jar of jam with a strawberry on it, or just a big strawberry or a big cherry or a big plum or a worm or whatever, because people will understand that quickly. You can make, like, if you start this year with just 1 or 2 road stands, depending on where you live, you can make a couple $1,000s a year. But if you want, you can do like me and you can make like a couple stands, like 3 or 4 stands, and you can ask your neighbors, you can ask your friends and family, or just places that you go by every day, so you can fill them up. And you can get road stands at those places. There's this big road close to where I live. When people are driving this way, they see the stand over here. When people are driving the other direction, they see the other stand. So people driving in each direction will see one of my road stands, meaning this entire road, which like thousands of people drive by every day, and they can't not see the stand. So that is free advertising, guys. And that is why this is a powerful side hustle. It's because it applies leverage. The most important concept in business, the difference between what you put in and what you get out. You put very little in because you don't have to stand there in the stand, and you don't have to hand out things. You just have to stock it up every now and then. If you have a low quantity of product, then sell at high prices. and make a good deal so where people like buy 4 jars of jam or 4 plums or whatever, they get a discount, so they're incentivized to buy more. The only requirement for doing this is that you have a road near you, but don't be restricted to thinking that it has to be a big road, because people, when they see the road stand, they will also tell other people, and people will start to like realize that, okay, there's actually a road stand here. So it doesn't have to be a place where people actually are driving by. It can be in a small neighborhood where, yeah, the people are walking by with the dogs or something. You can have a stand there. At some point, you will have fed up that entire like neighborhood market, and you will want to expand. And the way you do that is by talking to someone who lives near the road. This road stand here has been 1 year at a farmer. He had the property that lined up to this road where I wanted to have the road stand. So I just asked him, hey, can I have the road stand here? I'll give you some honey. And sure enough, he said yes. So I just cleared the area from grass and placed this one here. And this road stand here is incredible. It stands in a really good location because people have like a parking lot or something. The reason that my road stands are out here in the garage right now is because of they're getting painted. They're getting treated up. This one was really old. This stand right here, it was like the oldest one I had, and it has been like damaged by the weather. And we have painted the roof, but it was also getting kind of old. So yeah, I've painted it red now and it's looking really good. I'm just like going around painting like small areas you can see here where it's like being scratched and stuff, painting it up, and also adding these things to the bottom, like these metal plates, so that they don't rot in the bottom, because this is the part that will get destroyed. This is the part that will get destroyed the first. If you decide to use wood, it's not as good because the wood will absorb some of the water, and that will actually cause the tree to rot at a quicker rate. So choose stone or choose these metal things, and the metal is really good because it like just follows the stand around, so you will never forget to like put something underneath. I've used tape here to like tape the signs, but actually that's not a great idea because the tape will actually trap the water inside of here, which will cause the paint to come off when you're peeling it off.